All right. Cool. So I was just playing around on GarageBand, and I just love this. Like, you can change and make so many different sounds and play around that way. Super cool. All right. So Monday, January 17th is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And so you might talk about him in class. And so one thing I'll talk about is why I think it's important to remember Martin Luther King Jr. And that's a person who addressed uncomfortable things, but did it with compassion and love instead of hate and violence. So he identified things that are wrong, but he didn't do negative things to address what was wrong. So this is one of my favorite quotes. And he said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only love can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." So I think he was talking about it's like going into a dark room. If you want to remove the darkness, you can't add more darkness to get rid of the darkness. You can only add light to remove the darkness. The other quote that I love is this one that says, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" What are you doing for others? So think about that today. What are you doing for others today? What am I doing for others today? I'm hanging out with you, which is why teachers are so happy, because they're always thinking about other people first. What are we going to do? We're going to do a sight read together. Okay? And this sight read, it's not with the does or the rays, it's with the words. And we want to see, can you take like that idea of looking at notes and making sense in here, between here and here and here. Okay? So try that. Then after, I'm going to have a little video on birds. Like, how do birds sing and how do they learn how to replicate patterns? Now, you have a choice, okay? Because the bird song that we're going to recreate on Chrome Music Lab is the Angry Birds theme. So after the sight read, either watch the bird video and then you can stay up and I'll have the Chrome Lab video up on the big screen and you can do it together. Or if you, after the sight read, if you want to go off on your own with your headphones and start figuring out the Angry Birds theme on your own, I have the video link for you. Does that make sense? So you have two options after the sight read. Stay on the big screen and figure stuff out together, or right after the sight read, go off on your own. Okay? And you have the links. Sound good? All right, cool. And the reason that we do the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol is then you can start looking at a piece of music. You don't know what it is. You've never heard it before, but you can figure it out. So I'm just going to show you this over here. And I'll just kind of walk through a few. And it says do, do, re, mi, fa, sol, do, do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, fa, mi, re, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re. All right? So even though we don't know what it sounds like, we can start figuring out what we think it's going to sound like. So what we're going to do on this one is we're jumping in right away. Like, we're not even practicing. We're just jumping in, sing the words. Are we going to make mistakes? Yeah, but your brain and your ears might kind of know what to do. So let's just try it. Here's our first note. This is our do right here. So that's our first note. Lands far across the sea. Lands, we start there. All right, we don't know it, but let's sing it. All right, so we never heard that song before. You never saw that song, but maybe you were able to kind of figure out what it sounds like. All right, last thing we're going to do is together. This is only our second time through the song, but I'm going to turn the backing track up and see if we can follow along. Here we go. How did that go? So this is kind of like the payoff for doing all the sight reading stuff. Okay. If you have your Chromebooks and your headphones, get those out. And what you can do is I'm going to, you can either come up on the big screen and go through the video together, or I sent you the link for the video, and then you can go off on your own and try to figure this project out. All right? Beautiful.
This is a song sung by a brown thrasher, but that's just one of the 1,000 or more that it knows. And it's not the only avian virtuoso. A wood thrush can sing 2 pitches at once. A mockingbird can match the sounds around it, including car alarms. And the Australian superb lyrebird has an incredible, elaborate song and dance ritual. These are just a few of the 4,000 species of songbirds. Most birds produce short, simple calls. But songbirds also have a repertoire of complex vocal patterns that help them attract mates, defend territory, and strengthen their social bonds. Each songbird species has its own distinct song patterns, some with characteristic regional dialects. Experienced listeners can even distinguish individual birds by their unique songs. So how do birds learn these songs in the first place? How do they know to mimic the songs of their own species? Are they born knowing how to sing? A lot of what scientists know about birdsong comes from studying zebra finches. A baby male zebra finch typically learns to sing from its father or other males, starting while it's still a fledgling in the nest. First comes a sensory learning phase, when the baby finch hears the songs sung around it and commits them to memory. The bird starts to vocalize during the motor learning phase, practicing until it can match the song it memorized. As the bird learns, hearing the tutor's song over and over again is helpful, up to a point. If he hears it too many times, the imitation degrades. And the source matters. If the song is played through a loudspeaker, he can't pick it up as easily. but hide the same loudspeaker inside a toy painted to look like a zebrafinch, and his learning improves. What if the baby never hears another zebrafinch's song? Interestingly enough, it'll sing anyway. Isolated finches still produce what are called innate or isolate songs. A specific tune might be taught, but the instinct to sing seems to be hardwired into a songbird's brain. Innate songs sound different from the cultured songs learned from other finches at first. If isolate zebra finches start a new colony, the young birds pick up the isolate song from their parents, but the song changes from generation to generation. And after a few iterations, the melody actually starts to resemble the cultured songs sung by zebra finches in the wild. Something about the learning process must be hardwired too, drawing the birds towards the same song patterns again and again. This means that basic information about the zebrafinch song must be stored somewhere in its genome, imprinted there by millions of years of evolution. At first, this might seem odd, as we usually think of genetic code as a source of biochemical or physical traits, not something like a behavior or action. But the two aren't fundamentally different. We can connect genomes to behavior through brain circuitry. The connection is noisy and quite complex. It doesn't simply map single genes to single behaviors, but it exists. Genomes contain codes for proteins that guide brain development, such as molecules that guide the pathways of developing axons, shaping distinct circuits. Birds' brains have so-called song circuits that are active when the birds sing. These circuits also respond to the song of a bird's own species more strongly than to other species' songs. So the theory is that a bird's genes guide development of brain circuits that relate to singing and the ability to learn songs. Then exposure to songs shapes those neural circuits to produce the songs that are typical to that species. Genetically encoded or innate behaviors aren't unique to songbirds. They're widespread in the animal kingdom. Spectacular examples include the long-distance migrations of monarch butterflies and salmon. So what does this mean for humans? Are we also born with innate information written into our genomes that helps shape our neural circuits and ultimately results in something we know? Could there be some knowledge that is unique and intrinsic to humans as a species? By watching this video, you are actually part of an information sharing network that connects millions of lifelong learners across the globe.